Stop what you're doing for just 1 second and listen to me. Do you feel that? That sharp, lingering metallic tang on the back of your tongue? That persistent bitter film that seems to coat your mouth from the moment you wake up, no matter how many times you brush your teeth? Most people call it a bad taste. Your doctor probably called it age-related, handed you a prescription for a special mouthwash or some mints, and told you to learn to live with it. But I'm telling you right now, as a medical researcher who has spent my career digging into the clinical data they choose to ignore, that taste is not a natural part of getting older. It is an SOS signal, a biological alarm bell. Your taste buds and your nervous system are screaming for help because they are being starved of the very fuel they need to function. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to shut that alarm off. Because if you're over 50 and your mouth won't stop tasting like metal or bitterness, you don't just have a tongue problem, you have a cellular starvation problem. And until we fix the hunger, the bitterness will never stop. I see patients like you every single day in my practice, and I want to tell you about a woman named Martha, 67 years old, a retired librarian who loved her Sunday family dinners. But when she sat in my office 6 months ago, she was a ghost of herself. She had lost 15 pounds because everything she ate, even her favorite roasted chicken, tasted like she was chewing on a rusted copper penny. She told me, "Dr. Ethan, the specialists say my tests are normal, but I've lost my appetite for life." I looked at those normal tests, and I'll tell you exactly what I told Martha. Normal is just a statistical average of a sick population. Your doctor sees a zinc or B12 level at the bottom of the range and checks a box. I see that same number, and I see taste receptors that are literally dying off, unable to send the correct electrical signals to your brain. When your taste buds spark incorrectly, your brain interprets it as bitter or metallic. That taste is a short circuit. If you've been told your tests are fine, but your mouth is telling you otherwise, you are being failed by a system that doesn't understand neurological nutrition. Today, we are going to go deep into the specific phantom taste killers that conventional medicine is missing. To understand why the bitterness won't stop, you have to understand how fragile your sense of taste actually is. Every single taste bud on your tongue is connected to a microscopic nerve fiber that travels directly to your brain. Now, imagine what happens when your body is inflamed or when your saliva becomes too acidic or thin. Those tiny pathways constrict. The receptor cells, the ones that turn chemicals in food into the joy of flavor, begin to suffocate. They don't just stop working, they malfunction. They send ghost signals. This is where the 2026 research from the Global Sensory Institute comes in. They discovered that dysgeusia, that metallic taste, isn't just in the mouth. It's a failure of the brain to filter these error messages. It's a state of sensory overload where your brain stays locked in a cycle of processing a metal signal that isn't even there. We have to clear the inflammation and feed the cells to reset the system. Let's talk about the first line of defense, zinc. But I'm not talking about cheap multivitamins. Your gustatory system holds one of the highest concentrations of zinc in your entire body, and for a reason. The process of tasting creates massive amounts of oxidative stress, and zinc is your antioxidant shield. Without it, your taste buds literally rust. But here's the secret most people miss. You might be eating the zinc, but you aren't absorbing it. I call these the invisible killers. If you're consuming high amounts of phytates from processed grains or drinking too much tea and coffee with your meals, you are literally blocking the zinc from reaching your tongue. You are starving in the middle of a feast. Martha was eating healthy, but her morning routine was flushing her zinc down the drain. We flooded her system with bioavailable zinc, pumpkin seeds, and specific lean proteins, and removed the blockers. Within weeks, the rust started to clear. And for the first time in years, the metallic tang began to fade. Now I have to tell you something that might shock you. While you're trying to fix your taste, you might be accidentally poisoning it. There's a whole class of substances called taste-altering drugs. These are everyday items, common blood pressure medications, certain antibiotics, and even some anti-inflammatories for your joints that cause direct chemical damage to your sensory hair cells. They trigger a massive release of free radicals, overwhelming your mineral shields. If you're taking these regularly, you are throwing water on a fire while pouring gasoline on the other side. My protocol for Martha involved identifying these hidden triggers and supporting her system with natural anti-inflammatories like curcumin, giving her taste buds a chance to finally breathe and recover. But zinc is only the beginning. We have to talk about the insulation of your nerves. Imagine a high-voltage power line. If you strip the rubber coating off that line, it sparks and hums. That is exactly what is happening to your glossopharyngeal nerve right now if your vitamin B12 and folate levels aren't in the optimal zone. As we age, our stomachs lose the ability to produce intrinsic factor, meaning we can't absorb B12 from our food anymore. This leads to the thinning of the nerve's protective sheath. When that sheath is thin, electrical signals leak out. Your brain interprets that leakage as a constant bitter or metallic sensation. I don't care if your lab results say you are in the normal range. For a senior with a metallic taste, that is a deficiency. We need your levels much higher to even begin the repair process. This is why Martha's doctor missed it. They were looking for not sick, while I was looking for optimal repair. Why does the bitter taste get worse when you're tired or stressed? Because of a chemical called cortisol. When you're under stress, your saliva production changes. It becomes more acidic and loaded with inflammatory cytokines. If you don't have enough magnesium to act as a buffer, your mouth enters a state of sensory acid rain. This is the stress storm. It's why your mouth feels like lead after a long day or a bad night's sleep. We have to manually reset that pH balance by flooding your system with the right forms of magnesium, specifically through things like pumpkin seeds, almonds, and dark leafy greens. We are effectively neutralizing the acid and telling the sensory nerves to calm down. If you think vitamin D is just for bones, you are living in the past. The latest research from early 2026 has completely shifted the landscape. Vitamin D3 is a neurosteroid that regulates the health of the mucosal lining in your mouth. The study was clear. People with chronic taste distortions have significantly lower D3 levels. Why? Because D3 is the repair foreman of the body. If your foreman is missing, the repairs never get done. You stay stuck in a loop of chronic oral inflammation. Most of you are staying indoors or using so much sunscreen that your D3 levels are in the gutter. We need to get you into that 15 minutes of direct morning sun or prioritize wild-caught salmon to give your sensory system the currency it needs to fix itself. Have you noticed the metallic taste is stronger when you wake up? It's not just because your mouth is dry. It's because your body tries to enter system repair at night. If the raw materials aren't there, the zinc, the B12, the magnesium, the repair process stalls. The brain detects the broken signal from your tongue and amplifies it. This is a feedback loop. To fix this, your final meal of the day must be your most nutrient-dense for the sensory system. We are going to time your intake to match your body's repair cycle, forcing the brain to recognize the fixed signal and finally quiet the bitterness. We also have to address the thick blood problem. Your tongue is supplied by tiny capillaries, and if your blood is filled with inflammatory markers, it becomes like sludge. It can't deliver the nutrients to the taste receptors. This is where omega-3s come in. They are cell lubricants. They make the membranes of your taste buds fluid and alive. When you pair that with natural vasodilators like ginger, you are essentially opening the floodgates. You are allowing the nutrients to finally reach the starving cells. I saw this in Martha's 4th month. She came in and said, "Dr. Ethan, I can taste the sweetness in a strawberry again." That is the sound of blood finally reaching the sensory nerves. So, what does this mean for you tonight? Tonight, I want you to commit to my sensory rescue dinner. We're talking about a piece of wild-caught baked salmon for the D3 and omega-3s. We're pairing that with a massive salad of baby spinach for the magnesium, topped with a handful of raw pumpkin seeds for the zinc. We dress it with olive oil, fresh lemon, and a grating of fresh ginger to kickstart that microcirculation. That one meal provides a massive biological payload of exactly what your taste buds are starving for. Do not expect a miracle in 24 hours. Your nerves took years to starve. They will take weeks to recover. But in my research, the first moments of real flavor usually begin to appear between week 3 and week 6. Martha didn't just get her taste back, she got her joy back. Last month, she sent me a photo of her Sunday dinner, smiling with her grandkids. She told me, "Doctor, I can finally taste the love in the food again." That is why I do this. That is why I challenge the normal diagnosis. Because you deserve to enjoy your food. You deserve to wake up with a mouth that feels fresh and clean. I want you to share this video with one person you know who is suffering, because millions are being told there is no cure when the cure is sitting right on their dinner plate. Write to me in the comments, how long has your mouth been tasting like metal? I read your stories. They are the fuel for my next research project. I am Dr. Ethan Whitmore, and your health is the only metric that matters. I'll see you in the next consultation.